What's up, fam? It's your favorite retiree on social media. I feel so blessed and happy to be here with you guys. It's a beautiful day. It's Saturday, and I came here today because I want to speak on something about a conversation that I overheard today at the barbershop. It was a conversation centered around finances. So before I dive deep into the conversation, I want to set the scene for you guys. So that way it gives you a little bit more of a connection to the story to some degree. So early Saturday morning, went to the barbershop. I go, get my hair cut. And so I'm in the chair, the barbershop chair. I'm in this chair, lean back. My barber, he doing his thing, get me, lined up and edged up and everything, looking good. So I'm there relaxed. And next to me, there's a gentleman in the chair. He's maybe mid-20s to mid to late 20s. And the gentleman that's cutting his hair, the barber, he's like maybe mid-30s to late 30s. So now, one thing I want to point out is typically when I'm in the barbershop, I tune out to some degree. Like my antennas are up a little bit, but they're not, I'm just zoned out. And mainly because in a barbershop, especially a black barbershop, which is 90% of the time that's where I go, you never know what you're going to get when you're in a black barbershop. You could get some healthy conversations, you could get some unhealthy conversations. You could get somebody selling you a plate of food, you could have somebody in there selling you some shoes, you could have somebody in there trying to take your shoes. You never know what you're going to get. That's why I say that I'm a little tuned out because I don't want to have my ears open to all the other conversation and extra stuff that goes on in there. So back to the story because I'm going off a little tangent. As I'm relaxing in the chair, tuned out, they're having their conversation, and now my antennas pick up, or my antennas activate when I start hearing them talking about money. Not because I'm a materialistic person or anything of that nature, but I'm a financially grounded person. So I love to hear people talking about finances. And two, because that's something you rarely ever hear in a barbershop. In the barbershops I go to. People ain't talking about money. If they are, is probably in a different manner. And so to hear this conversation, I was like, inside of me, like I was cheering, I was happy, ecstatic, like beyond ecstatic. Words can't describe how I felt just to hear that type of conversation going on in the barbershop, and it not being centered around some type of negativity, some scamming or something rooted in that type of nature. So the advice the barber gives the younger gentleman in his chair is that, hey, the best advice I can give you surrounding money is to invest it. For the long term, that's going to be the best thing you can do with your money, and it's going to allow you to grow your money without always working for your money. And so for me, I'm really like, my eyes are closed, but I'm doing flips inside. Like, words can't describe how I'm feeling when I hear that mentioned, because I love it when people have those conversations. Like everybody has their stuff that they get excited for, and mine's is finances. And so I hear that and I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, talk that talk. Let them know. Educate the youth. And the guy's response, which I'm not surprised by, was, and I quote, "I need my money fast. I can't wait for the stock market." Because that takes a while, doesn't it? And the barber's like, yeah, it takes a while, but it's worth it. And the younger gentleman responded with like, yeah, I ain't got time to wait. Like, I'm trying to get my money now, overnight, ASAP. And so in my head, like I am I'm deflated a bit. Like, man, I feel so sad. And because that's the general consensus a lot of people have when you try to encourage them or even give them advice about money. And maybe it's because of my own personal history with people who have asked me in the past about what advice would you give me for my money and my situation, because when I was in the military and even to this current day, I still have connections with people that I was in the military with, and even some of the younger people that are in their like early 30s, and to the point of even chiefs and people that are older than me. So I still have connection with them through social media. I'm an extrovert. I stay connected to people. And in the past, when I give people advice, even like I said, currently, a lot of people will ask for the advice, and when you give it to them, they're resistant to it. You can tell their body language changes because they're expecting, I guess, some kind of secret, yeah, go do X, Y, and Z, and your money's gonna, overnight you're gonna be rich or you're gonna be financially stable. It doesn't work that way. Like they're looking for some secret sauce. There is no secret sauce to acquiring money and building for wealth and becoming financially independent and stable. And so one thing I will always pick up on people is that like I said, their body language shifts drastically. Because I start going into, hey, invest your money. It's more about the long-term focus. Stay fixated on that. Don't be too concerned about what's going on in the now. Just make sure you adopt and implement healthy behaviors with money now. That's going to pay off so much in the long run, especially when it comes to money. If you just do some of those simple things, it's the simple things in life. But I would notice people were not receptive to it. They wanted something quick, fix, and in a hurry. They wanted a secret sauce. They thought it was something they wanted something illegal. Maybe that's not what they would say, but it felt like they wanted something like, what's the secret? Like you doing it and you seem to be financially stable and whatnot, or especially even nowadays, they look at me and they be like, yeah, you're stable. Let me get some. What are you doing? And just tell them, hey, I planted my tree 20 years ago. And by tree, I mean my financial tree. I put it in the ground and I water it. It's just like anything else. Like, it takes time. The point that I'm making is that there is no secret sauce to becoming financially independent. All the information you need is right there in front of your face. It's on Google. It's the same thing that Warren Buffett encourages every American to do. Invest in index funds. And keep in mind, this is not investment advice. I am not an expert whatsoever. This is my own personal experience. But it's right there in front of your face. And when you tell people this stuff, to them, I'm guessing all I hear is work. They're looking for something illegal. They're looking for the scam. They're looking for the quickest way to get from A to Z. And that's just it. There are no shortcuts in life. Anything worth having in life, you have to work for it. That doesn't just include finances. That includes your relationship with God. That includes your health, fitness, your relationship with other people. You have to put in work. It's not something that just happens overnight. Anything acquired without cost or effort is usually going to be underappreciated. People that hit the lottery. That's a perfect example. There's an extremely high percentage, I'm pretty sure well over 50% of people that hit the lottery, and within a small time frame, they are broke again. Now, I don't know the specific stat on that, but it's extremely high. And they're broke for a reason. They didn't change their mindset with money. They were given a surplus of money and they didn't know what to do with it. They still had those unhealthy behaviors that they've had their entire life with money. Now it's just like a kid with access to a bank. They're going to go in there and just spend it on candy and random stuff. In some years, they're going to be broke again. They're going to be back at point A, right? They're going to be back at the starting line. That's exactly what happens when you're trying to take shortcuts in life. You have to work for it, and not only work for it, you have to change your mindset with money. You have to change the way you look at money. You have to change your relationship with money. And sometimes that's going to require you to look at your childhood. It's going to cause you to take some deep self-reflection when it comes to trying to better your relationship with money. Just a few weeks ago, I recall one post, I can't remember what platform it was on. It was along the lines of that if you take all the money in the world and you redistribute it out to everyone. You give everyone a fair share amount, like you just divvy it up across the board, all the money in the world, and you divide it by how many ever people on earth, and you divvy it out to everyone on earth. Everyone has an equal amount. The majority of people that had money before that transpired, that were wealthy, in a few years they'll be wealthy again. And the people that were broke or struggling before that whole equal disbursement of money, they're going to be back where they were. And you know why? Because your mindset didn't change. Your habits didn't change. Now you have the money, but you have to change your habits and behavior. And 9 times out of 10, it's too late at that point once you have the money. You have to be able to manage the money. And if you have unhealthy habits, if you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, if you're out there if you're wearing more money than what you have in your account, you're doing it wrong. If you're one of those people out there that are spending an exorbitant amount of money on a bag, a Chanel bag, a Louis bag, but you don't have anything in your account, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. That's how you should know that you need to change your mindset around money. A lot of broke people, their money is tied up in aesthetics. So the broke people value aesthetics. That's where the money flows. People with money, they value assets. So that's all I have today surrounding that conversation in the barbershop. It just brought me back to it. Just reminded me of those conversations that I've had in the past with people, and so that's why I wanted to bring it to you guys and pose the question: like, do you ever have those moments with people where they ask you questions on, how can I better my financial situation, and you give them the keys to the car, and in a sense they just throw them away, like, oh, I don't want this. It wasn't what I asked for. Have you guys ever experienced any kind of conversations with friends or families where they ask you your advice on their financial situation and what they should do, and you give it to them and they do nothing with it? A few months later or a year later, they're right back circling the block asking the same question again in the same situation. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Always remember, put God first in everything you do. And to live below your means now, so later in life you can live beyond your means.